For the deal LeBron just signed, he took a small pay cut to keep the Lakers off that dreaded second apron. Asked why he did this, LeBron told ESPN, because we are in a relationship, and anybody knows relationships, it's all about committing. It's also about doing things to help both sides. So we've been in a working relationship going on 7 years, so that's what it's about. Rachel, big deal or no big deal, LeBron took less money?
No big deal to LeBron because that is couch cushion change for him. So look, there was talk and his camp floated that he was willing to take a much more significant pay cut if the Lakers could get a list of 5 or 6 targets. It is really just sort of a salary cap style move because it is a very big deal to the Lakers. Not a big deal to LeBron, but a big deal to the Lakers because just that, it's not even a full $3 million, 2.7 or whatever it is, keeps them out of the second apron. And I know that, you know, all of the numbers and collective bargaining talk is very boring, but the thing you just need to know about the second apron is that it completely limits your ability to make the team better. That you can't do sign-in trades in the same way. You can't make trades where you aggregate players and their salaries for a big star. It is designed to make it hard, almost impossible, to add another big-time player to your team if you are paying everyone else so much. And there are 4 teams that are in the second apron right now. The Suns, which is part of their roster construction problem. They don't have the ability to do a lot of other things. The Timberwolves, the Celtics, who said, we're bringing every back. We don't need to worry about the second apron because we don't need to make big improvements to our team.
I'm selling the team anyway.
The Bucks, the Bucks, who obviously maxed out on Damian Lillard and Giannis and made commitments there. So those teams, those 4 teams, are going to be very limited. The Lakers, by not joining that group, gives them the opportunity to make trades before the trade deadline. Now it is going to be interesting to see because making trades at the trade deadline is not as easy as it used to be. With the play-in tournament, there are more teams who think they're still in it. There are fewer teams who are giving up the top players, as you said, who's going to trade us for a 20-point-a-game scorer. The teams that have said, oh, okay, we thought it was our year, but it's not. We've had some major injury. We've had whatever. Those teams are the ones who tend to cough up those players on expiring contracts. There are fewer of those teams. So it's a big deal for the Lakers that LeBron kept them out of the second apron, but maybe not as big a deal as it could have been 5 years ago when the trade market was a little different.
Yeah, we make it sound like LeBron took an amazing haircut for the Lakers organization. He did the right thing from a business standpoint. He's still basically making his money and keeping them, like you said, from the second apron where they don't have to worry about it. Now there's no restrictions in the future on draft picks. They don't have to worry about any of those sort of things. And that's what you do. I'm sure this was part of the plan the entire way. Hey, if I sign back, here's what we got to do. We got to do this. This is what we need you to do, and this is what we're going to do. You know, so it's simple and easy. Now, if you told me that he did this with the idea of them going out there solely to go attract a player in free agency like it was reported, and it didn't happen, now you're dealing with a different type of problem, which they haven't gotten anybody in free agency, although it was reported that he's only taking a pay cut so that the Lakers could improve by getting a third sort of kind of superstar, and they failed to do that just yet. I don't think LeBron James is going to look at it and say, oh, well, $2.6 million I gave up. I could have hurt the Lakers. They didn't do what I said. Because they're going to certainly go out there and try. Now, who's that player that's available that a team that's at the bottom says, we're willing to trade you, give us this, 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 and this, because we're in a rebuilding situation. You mentioned those 4 teams. Basically, all those 4 teams is young except the Suns, right? Because of Bradley and because of Durant. Otherwise, Boston's young. Minnesota's relatively young. They still a young team, although Cat is a little older and Rudy, but they're young. They're not on, like, the back end of their careers.
Except for Horford and Boston.
Horford and Boston, but that's it. But that core group that they spent all that money on, them dudes, they got a long ways to go to keep playing basketball so far. But it's a great move for the Lakers, like you said, Rachel. Now they just got to go out there and find out what to do with this $2.6 million that he gave back.
Okay, just for the record, next year LeBron James will make $50 million, $677,500. Okay, so it's $50,677,500. It's still pretty great money. So he did take somewhat less. You could sort of take it half and half, so because it's a 2-year deal, although it's his option on the second year. Smart move. Because, I don't know, who knows what could happen in a year, and that's what Rich Paul is saying. Well, who knows what could happen? Let's keep our options open, so it's sort of still just a 1-year deal.
Keeps pressure on the team.
It keeps pressure on the team. So it's 2.7, and you take it half and half, so it's about 1.35 per year that he took the haircut on. It's money down between the cushions of the couch to him. And yet, they trumpeted it because, in part, he has gotten criticized, often by me, over the last X years since that first year in Miami. Why don't you take something? You're a billionaire. Why don't you take less money? And I keep bringing up something you don't want to hear, but Tim Duncan, those last 4 years, he went 10 million, 6, 6, and 6. Those were his salaries the last 4 years. 10 million, 6
Good
million.
for Tim.
Okay. And good for San Antonio, because San Antonio should have won 2 championships and did win 1.
Good for Tim.
Okay. All right. So LeBron has always been about principle, and I'm sure the Players Association says, take everything you can get because we need that to send that message. Nobody takes less money than what you deserve, what you have earned. Unless maybe you want to try to maximize your chance to win another championship, right?
There's not enough money he can give back, though, Skip. There's not enough money he can get. If he said I'm playing for 0,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna do the Rod Dato, I'm gonna coach for $1.
People don't have any idea who you just.
I know. I just
He used to coach baseball at USC.
for $1.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's get back to LA high school.
But when you think about it, if he took 0, though, Skip, they got to go
What
out
if he
there.
took 10? 10
It,
minutes.
does, it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't. All they needed was a 2.6. He
Okay,
doesn't
for
have
that.
to go all the way down. This was all about this. Everything he's doing is about the team and the organization and not being a repeater.
Yeah.
That's all it's about.
This time.
This time around.
This pay
Absolutely.
cut. And again, it is, look, I'm not going to turn my nose up at nearly $3 million, ever. But
No.
it is different for LeBron James when you were a billionaire.
Yeah.
So it is not a big deal to him. However, I think it's interesting that his camp floated this idea of he would take a more significant, a quote, real pay cut if they got some of these other players. Now, by the way, that is a brilliant PR move because you get to look like the good guy.
Thank you.
And
Y'all
saying he
crazy,
did it.
man.
No. I'm not saying he did it just for PR. I absolutely think he meant it. I'm just saying that it makes
but
him look good.
That would have had to have happened before all this started.
Right. And that they didn't.
But if he takes a significant pay cut, 0, let's just 0, take nothing, doesn't mean they're going to go out there and sign those players.
No.
Those players that got the 2 to tango, they got to want to come aboard.
That's what LeBron said.
They got to want to come aboard.
Yeah.
Well, and the teams.
But you have a whole lot more money to throw at them, right?
I don't know if you throw all that money, LeBron's money at them, if they don't go over the luxury tax again by doing that.
I was going to say, so they'll be more limited if he took, look, they were trying to open up the mid-level exception for some of these other guys that we've been talking about. In some cases, it didn't turn out to be enough money. Some guys didn't want to come play here. All of that kind of stuff. LeBron James will never make as much money as he is worth to the Lakers and is worth to the NBA.
Agreed. That is a fact.
You could pay him $100 million
That is
a year,
a fact.
and he would still be, quote, underpaid.
No,
in
he's
terms
still
of his
the
value.
face of this league, and he's definitely the face of your franchise.
It's different in the NFL, Skip, when because it's such a hard salary cap, that if I did, not me, because I ain't doing it, but if somebody decided to take less money.
Tom Brady?
Again, if somebody decided to take less money, it now allows you to go sign players. You got that extra 17, 18, $20 million where you can now, that $20 million, you might be able to sign 5 or 6 players with $20 million, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because they can stretch it around, they can move it around, they can play games with it, unlike the NBA. They can't do it. So no matter if he would have went to 0, they still would have had to go out there and try to convince somebody to come play for him.
Okay, but that's a whole nother issue to convince to come play with LeBron because maybe they don't want to play with LeBron, but it's not, maybe money would talk in the end. I mean, theoretically, if he took 0, could you make a play for Paul George?
I mean, you can't take 0.
Well, you know what I mean. far less than 150.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, or
You're
101 or
absolutely
whatever
right
it was.
about the NBA rules, though, because you can sign your own players for more money.
Yeah.
So how much money he gave back does not necessarily